One of the activities that we're going to be doing as part of our Sowing the Seeds festival is Bob Gilbert, who I learnt about from the book Seeing Differently that we followed, is part of one of our Loving Creation book groups, which is a book written by 3 Franciscans. One of them, Brother Samuel, who's been to our church to talk about loving creation at various times. He describes how he and Bob Gilbert would do walks around London streets, learning more about the sorts of plants that were growing in the pavements and on the side of the roads, and also about the wildlife that could be seen. And I thought, well, that sounds like really interesting to have a walk. And so I got in touch with Bob, and he's agreed to lead a walk for us. And I've since learnt, having researched him more, that he's actually written a number of really interesting books on the subject. He's broadcast on Radio 4, and he's going to start at the church and lead us on a walk around some of the streets very close to the church, and just point out some of the things which we may never have noticed of the way that there's a whole world living in our community that we are very unaware of. So I think that'll be really interesting. We are going to visit a member of the congregation who lives on the edge of Tottenham, and he lives in a community of flats, and he's been leading a gardening project there and creating a really lovely space where he's growing with a group of people flowers and vegetables, and not only growing things and make it look really beautiful and be a nice place to relax and to enjoy the outside, but also growing them for food as well. So we're going to go and see what sorts of things he's been doing. We're hoping to visit 1 or 2 places where people have done projects in their homes or in their buildings, in their other sorts of buildings, which are ways of saving energy, ways of living authentically this same loving creation priority that we're talking about. To create more interest in the group and to create more interest in the priority, we had our first Sowing the Seeds festival, and the one that we're about to have now will be our 3rd one, to encourage more people to participate. The A. Rocha award scheme is really about an incentive to try and create a particular culture within a church, a way of thinking and a way of behaving. When we did the questionnaire, and we got a very solid bronze, and in various areas we actually got silver, so we're quite close to getting a silver award. And one of the ways we've really upped our game, I think it would be fair to say, is we now have a lot more teaching and reflection on loving creation very naturally throughout the life of our church. So it will come up much more naturally in our sermons, that will make those connections, in our intercessions, our green tips, and the way that we try and suggest things to people. Since we got our bronze award, we now have a gardening club. We have much more people involved in the area around our church, helping to make it look really beautiful, and also to grow food from it. I've got a definite ambition that I would like us to get silver as soon as possible, and then to move on and achieve gold. And not because achieving gold is a nice thing to do because you get a gong. Of course, that would be nice to get a gold anyway. But the most important reason, I think, that achieving these awards is that it means as a church you can begin to influence churches and Christian communities around you, because people will come and talk to you about what you're doing, and that's where then encouraging them to do more for themselves. As a church, doing things together means that we can grow in our sense of belonging and our sense of knowledge of one another. As Christians, we are the body of Christ, so spending time together is important, and seeing other people's homes, seeing the places where they come from, helps us to appreciate them and to learn more about them. Paying more attention is a big and important objective about the Sowing the Seeds week. And I hope as well that the themes won't only be about ways of living ideas that we might do at home. It's also about how we can link our faith and our spirituality with this priority. So very deliberately, the week begins with the weekend of the Harvest Festival, where we focus on these questions and these issues, and all the way through the week we'll be thinking about how our faith connects with this. Look at the publicity about Sowing the Seeds. So it's already being publicised on the weekly sheet, on the jottings, and on our website. And to please also to listen out for the announcements about it. Please come and join in. We would love to have you as part of our Loving Creation priority. If you feel that you aren't really doing very much for this Loving Creation priority at home, if you're lost in a labyrinth of questions about what on earth can we do, don't let that stop you being involved. And nobody should feel judged about whether or not their attempts are any better than anybody else's. What's important is to have a desire to try and grow more closely in the likeness of Christ, and one of the ways that we can do that is by responding to the beauty of the world around us in a better and more authentic way.